bad. I love this building.
Cloud got a little closer and closer, and most of the people decided to start running for cover.
For those 2 hours that I'm skating, nothing else matters.
I turned up into the park, and about a quarter mile from the tennis center, my heart stopped. And I hit the street and was dead.
They were risking their lives to save our community. And I know they stand in heaven and are ready as a crew for any task.
What you're witnessing here is not just a fire.
Today is going to go down in the history of the Houston Fire Department as the worst day in the history of the Houston Fire Department, the greatest loss of lives.
As the first firefighters arrived just after noon, the flames they faced were already intense, already spreading rapidly.
The entire thing was caught on fire. On top, there was smog just everywhere.
Hotel guests say they saw the blaze break out in the restaurant, and some of them heard an explosion.
All of a sudden you hear a loud boom. The sound sounded like a cannon going off. I mean, it was so loud.
The flames gushed into the attic, and from there they raced through the entire hotel. Firefighters battling the blaze on the hottest day of the year repeatedly called for help, calling in 5 alarms for more manpower.
You walk in, average fire at our temperature is going to be about 500 to 600 degrees. You gear up, your body temperature, you're going to be at that place of exhaustion. Probably within 10 minutes.
Within minutes, 2 firefighters had been critically injured and rushed away in ambulances. At some point, amid the smoky chaos, the roof collapsed, and a team of firefighters inside the burning building was trapped. And the word spread that someone had died.
I feel just awful because I was there and he was trying to save everyone, and it just it hurts. It hurts my heart, honestly.
Only later did the magnitude of the disaster become clear, that this fast-spreading blaze had claimed the lives of more firefighters than any other fire in Houston history.
I ask for every Houstonian to offer their prayers for the families of these fallen firefighters, but also to take a moment to think about what the job of a firefighter is and the dangers that they face every day.
A remote ranch in Brenham is as close as a 9.5-year-old boy ever gets to school.
I would if I could.
But C.J. Heron can't go to school because he got too early a start. Born premature, at 2 pounds 2 ounces, his health problems lingered, leaving him with a compromised immune system. A cold, a scrape, an elementary school sneeze could prove disastrous. So he stays home.
Not being able to see your friends.
And thinks about what he's missing. But at Brenham Elementary,
CJ is about to arrive.
CJ made it to the 3rd grade for the first time today. The newest Texas student to arrive at school by computer. A Vigo robot he controls from the kitchen table miles away at his grandparents' Brenham home. He can take part in classroom discussions, visit with all those friends he's been missing, and even spin a few donuts in the hall.
My favorite thing is when they're just all cheering for me.
How does it make you feel when they cheer for you?
Alive.
And that chance to feel alive is enough to make a mom cry.
It's more than just going to school. It's him growing up and getting friends and being a little 9-year-old boy.
Same emotions from a grandfather who's been by his grandson's side since day one.
CJ has a special place in my heart because of all he's been through. And I'm just so grateful to everyone.
And CJ is grateful because he can also give his robot a nickname. It's on its shirt, the Blue Deuce.
Brad Keselowski wins at Dover.
This kid is a NASCAR fan and his favorite driver is Brad Keselowski, number 2.
Well, it makes sense because I was 2 pounds 2 ounces, and my favorite race car driver is straps the number 2. They'd be coming in and goes, oh, there he is, Blue Deuce.
For now, the somewhat slower Blue Deuce will run the hallways at Brenham Elementary, sit side by side with his third-grade classmates in the front row.
What do you think now? How fun is this?
Pretty fun.
A robot, a lifeline for a little kid until he's healthy enough to get back into the race in person.
Okay, logging off in 3, 2, 1.
CJ has left the building.
It's a joy of summer that can turn deadly in less than a minute, and drowning dangers go up.
Nobody's watching the kids.
When no one's paying attention.
Absolutely no one.
Parents were stunned by what the I-Team caught City of Houston lifeguards doing.
Goofing around.
Like here at the Moody Park pool. Look at what happens to the only guard watching the water. Another guard distracts her, taking photos. And for how long? We'll start the clock.
They shouldn't be doing that. They should be watching the pool, watching the kids, making sure nobody's drowning.
But we found guards watching their cell phones here at Beverly Hills Park in Southeast Houston. Not 1 or 2, but 3 guards glued to them.
You've been watching us for the last hour?
Yes, I have.
They weren't happy to see us.
What's your name?
Don't worry about it. Can you get that camera on my face?
You don't know your name?
I don't know my name.
You've been constantly on your phones. Isn't there some lifeguarding to do here? Really, guy right there? Oh, that guy right there?
Yes, sir.
But that guy is the same guy doing this earlier, and the same guy oblivious to the front flips happening behind him.
Obviously, lifeguards don't have eyes in the back of their heads.
We shared our video with certified lifeguard instructor and pool safety expert Marty Wadsworth.
If they're not paying attention, people can lose their life.
And statistics show it can happen before you know it.
That water can take away a child's life in under 30 seconds.
Which brings us back to the poolside photo shoot. Total distraction time, 47 seconds.
On average, again, it takes only 30 seconds for a child to go unconscious in the water.
That's a zero tolerance matter.
So what's the city's reaction to our findings? Jeff Jefferson oversees City Pool.
Without saying what my feelings really were, they must be addressed. They must be addressed immediately.
But the I-Team found other areas where the city's breaking its own safety rules, like with staffing. Look at all the empty guard stands we found. At the jam-packed Lincoln Park pool in Acres Homes, we saw only 1 guard on duty. And the same held true at De Zavala Park on the city's east side. So how many should there be?
A ratio of 1 lifeguard per 25 patrons.
It's called the 1-to-25 rule, and you'd think it would be spelled out in the city's aquatics manual, but...
You have 80 pages of material that talks about everything under the sun, but doesn't mention how many guards should be by a pool.
Because we cover that in training.
Why not write it down so everybody knows?
We could do that.
So instead of 1-to-25, what do you get? At Studi Park in the Heights, a lot of standing around. And back at Moody Park, a lot of sitting around. Although a neighborhood kid did appear to be playing lifeguard at the top of the slide.
It's pretty concerning. I wouldn't take my kids to those parks.
It leaves parents wondering and warning if something doesn't change.
There's gonna be drowning or a child's gonna get hurt.
There are some officers who would rather not go upstairs by themselves at night.
We've heard people, it sounds like little kids running upstairs. There's no one upstairs.
Haunted houses are one thing, but a haunted police station? The Richmond Police Station was built in 1897. It used to be the county jail, and these folks paid $20 for a ghost tour that includes a stop here.
Just to know the feeling. Like, I want to be scared in real life.
Let's go inside.
Our guide is a master sergeant who's been giving these tours 12 years. The tour of the old jail is pretty hands-on. They'll even let you stand inside one of the old jail cells to feel what it was like to be incarcerated back then. During that time, the sheriff and his family lived on the first floor of the jail. Inmates occupied the other floors.
The basement for black inmates, top floor white and Hispanic inmates.
Dispatcher Christina Carr has witnessed plenty in her 5 years working overnights. Just last week, she says she heard a voice over the intercom say, "Get out."
You'll see people walk back and forth, what looks like shadows, black shadows that'll walk back and forth sometimes in the lobby, and there's no one here in the building.
We go upstairs. See that gray metal platform?
Yes, people were hung in this building.
That's right, a gallows. Prisoners used to meet their maker on this very spot inside the jail. A medium went into the basement recently, and before anyone told her anything about this space,
She came down here and went into the basement and froze and was staring at the back wall and said, "I'm getting an image of somebody shackled being beaten."
that's exactly what used to happen on this back wall. Watermarks resemble a man wearing a hat. Then our veteran tour guide saw something new. Why does that look like blood dripping down the walls?
Where are we at?
See that up there? It looks like blood dripping.
Where?
Right there.
Oh, right here?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You ever noticed that before?
I did now.
Maybe it was paint, but it definitely made the basement even creepier.
I did not feel that we were alone in that jail down there in the basement. You could just feel the presence of some poor souls that were there.
We got out. The tour was over. Anyone eager to return?
It was just weird being down there.
Would you go back?
No, I wouldn't.
As gunfire echoes through the woods of southeast Texas.
Was that 6 shots? Or was it 5 shots? Do you feel lucky, punks?
A man of God preaches the gospel of good shooting.
My name is James Maccabee, and I'm known as the pistol packing pastor.
That's right, the instructor of this concealed handgun permit class is also a church pastor.
Being a man of God and an ordained minister, my conscience is totally at peace with it.
And today, his gun-toting flock consists mostly of teachers.
I feel like I need to be able to protect my children if it comes to that.
Maccabee runs this class as a side business to his church duties. He usually charges his students $50. But after the Sandy Hook school shootings, he announced he'd offer it to teachers and school administrators for free.
I'm not sure if guns on campus is a good idea, but I do know that students need protection.
Now, seems a lot of teachers agree. On this day, about 150 educators showed up at the shooting range.
I teach pre-K and music at Koontz Elementary in Koontz, Texas. And it's in a small rural town. I feel like it's a safe place. But I also feel like I should learn how to do this.
I'm James Maccabee. If y'all don't know by now, I am a pastor.
Inside the church's rec center, they learned the law and passed around some of the pastor's weapons. The pastor of this little church in Beaumont has been teaching concealed handgun permit classes for years. He says he was inspired not by the Lord, but by an encounter with a couple of burglars.
I had 2 men to break into my church, and immediately they tried to stab me through with a 2x4. It was broken in half with a spike on it, and they started charging me to plunge me through. And I had to pull the firearm out and stop them and hold them till the police got there.
On this day, the star pupil was Jackie Boyd. The tight pattern in her target earned her a perfect score.
Bad guys have guns. I think the good guys need to be able to protect themselves.
And if educators are allowed to have weapons on campus, a lot of teachers in southeast Texas will be armed and ready.
It's a crumbling 100-year-old house in one of Houston's poorest neighborhoods, and inside,
So we had to put off the heart surgery.
a woman whose life has been crumbling too.
Then they finally told me I had breast cancer again, because this is my second time.
Cancer, open heart surgery, lupus, and now living on Social Security. And now one other problem.
They say there's thousands of bees back there.
Bees inside her walls with only a paper-thin barrier keeping them out.
You hear them in there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can hear them.
Which is where Claude Griffin comes in. He heard about Peggy Barfield and offered to come to her rescue for free.
They're to the point if she was to actually fall down or maybe, or what her little walker, if it was to poke a hole in there, she would be one dead woman. But today is her special day.
Before he tore into the wall, he guessed he'd find thousands inside. He guessed right. And then when he opened up the side of the house, it is as bad as he thought, or maybe even worse. And a honeycomb floor to ceiling, 3 layers deep. He saves as many as he can, but admits this assignment wasn't so much about saving bees as it was saving an ailing woman.
It is beyond belief. Appreciation is not even a big enough word for me to offer out. He has a big personality and a big heart to match.
More than she knew, actually.
Knock, knock.
Because Claude wanted to do one more thing. This is Valentine's Day, after all.
Uh-huh. So sweet.
And he thought Peggy deserved flowers and a box of candy, too.
It's all good, hon. It's all good. This is your day.
A good day for a good cry, a kind gesture, and a few less bees.
So ladies, put your hands together.
They are very sexy. Fantasy.
You can't beat this job.
It's your average 9 to 5. And by that, I mean 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. The job requires a buff body, good looks, a little rhythm, and someone who loves to turn heads.
I get propositioned every day, walking down the street.
And these guys say they have the best job in the world.
I love this industry.
I can't wait to come to work.
Taylor Cole just wrote a book called Take It Off, The Naked Truth About Male Dancers. Here's one truth, they definitely have a favorite type of customer.
Rich ones.
Party, have a great time, and spend their money on you.
Male strippers say on a slow night they make a couple hundred. On a good night, about $1,000. Most of these guys have day jobs. This is a lucrative side gig.
And I work as a gym fitness instructor as well.
It pays the bills, helps me through school.
He's studying to be an architect. Yes, the job is a grind, literally, but the men say it also involves a lot of tenderness.
A hug is always good. If you want to come over, touch my hair, don't pull it.
By the way, he's 49. Another truth about the job they say are
even hookups.
What's the light, baby?
They're good-looking guys. They get approached, and they find girls that they can date or go out with every once in a while.
Yes, male strippers frequently date women who come to their shows.
We get girls that come in here that actually want to see a show. We get girls that come in here are like lonely, and like we fill the void for them. I come alive in the nighttime.
The liaisons with the ladies are not always casual either. This young performer met his longtime girlfriend in the club.
We're actually expecting a little girl here on August 13th.
What about notions that many of the male dancers are gay? They say not hardly, but surprisingly they told us lots of straight guys dance in gay clubs.
Men have more money.
Patrons say all they really care about is a chance to live their fantasies.
Forget about your problems for a while. We just having fun. Men go to strip clubs, so why we can't go? Girls feel really welcome. They make them feel sexy. They make them feel like they're wanted.
Veteran dancer Julian Mara feels there's so much demand in Houston that he just brought his Hunkamania male review to Houston's Club Soho. The husband and father says,
It's a classier show.
And that seems to be the key word for these men. It's a show. A performance, a job, one they are happy to do night after night.
I love being on stage and I love entertaining, and this is a great way to entertain. What's better than being in front of 500 to 1,000 or 2,000 screaming women? It's awesome.
All right, we ready?
We climbed through a hatch,
Okay.
crawled down a long ladder, and found ourselves in another world.
Cool!
A hidden treasure buried next to Buffalo Bayou, an old water reservoir they're now calling the Cistern.
Who would have known this was here, huh? Early days.
We ventured down here with Houston's Parks Director, the man now in charge of this unique place. None of us had ever been here before.
This would be like going into a pyramid, something along those lines, and we've got one here in Houston, Texas.
And it's sat here for decades, all but forgotten.
This is the grand entry.
Now Joe Turner's talking about somehow incorporating all of this into the main entrance to the renovated Buffalo Bayou Park. The first thing you notice when you come down here are these giant columns stretching out in this cavernous space. The next thing you notice is not what you see, but what you hear.
Echo!
Sound reverberates around the columns and concrete walls for more than 10 seconds.
It's like going to the Grand Canyon, isn't it?
That leads Turner to think this could become a spectacular place for music.
It'd be nice if we could dry it so people could come see it and walk
clean it up,
through it.
maybe have some tours through.
Put some air in it, you know, easy way to get in and out.
And the shafts of sunlight shooting down from the hatches leads him to wonder about installing some kind of light exhibit.
The light show, I mean, just look. I mean, this is like, guys, look at how that goes down there. It just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes.
Someday, maybe everyone will be invited to see the light inside this buried treasure.
It's really special. It's a special piece of Houston.
On a cold, windy morning at the Cowgirl Ranch in Anderson, and it was the subtle pink sign that told us we were at the Cowgirl Ranch. Margie Powell climbed into her truck for another day at work. Nothing unusual in rural Grimes County, except
today, 106 stops and 136 miles.
For the truck, she's driving. Margie is the cowgirl of Cowgirl Collection Company, a one-woman company.
Oop, watch out for
slinging garbage from Anderson to Plantersville to Navasota.
You know, I think I'm just going to try throwing bags this time. That'll be easier.
Sometimes dodging rural traffic hazards in a white and pink truck she nicknamed Trigger.
I thought it'd be real pretty, and so that's what I came up with.
Because that's what we want in a garbage truck, is real pretty.
Right.
Right?
We're on the same page. Very important.
Okay, important, but why? Why would she choose to do this?
I needed a job.
Margie needed that job after a divorce, needed the job after she survived breast cancer. And since rural Grimes County didn't have much trash service to start with, she figured her adopted county needed her.
Oh. I noticed in the beginning for a long time my customers were all women, but now probably half of them are men and have accepted that I can do it.
A stop at the Plantersville Shell Station proved her point.
Well, she's kind of one of a kind. She's real special, that she is.
I'm thrilled. I've been very blessed. I believe this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
All right.
She started 5 years ago with only a horse trailer to haul the trash, only 12 customers at the start, 500 now. On a route she drives 5 days a week.
I guess I'm starting to have that presence and like a real garbage person.
Whatever that might be.
Back at the Cowgirl Ranch, there are 3 head of cattle, including Rosie, and a little guy named Harold, a ranch she can keep because she's found her calling.
I'm very grateful. God works in mysterious ways and is sure taking good care of me.
And now an entrepreneur, a cowgirl on a white and pink steel horse, takes care of Grimes County, one dusty country road at a time. And yes, she does recycling too.